In this video, I'd like to present to you a concept that could potentially change your entire business model. Now, this concept is not new to real estate or to note investing. In fact, any successful business on planet Earth has figured this out. But what I'd like to provide you is not only the concept, but also how it applies to note investing. Well, the concept is this, that when you find problems that people are facing and you bring a solution because of your effort and your specialized knowledge, your expertise, you're going to profit. You're going to profit handsomely, especially if it's a problem that others don't know how to solve or they're not willing to solve it. And so I've written here, add value by solving a problem and profit. Now this concept is, again, not new, but it's one that when applied to note investing and also real estate investing is extremely powerful. And so I'm going to run through a few examples of some problems that banks experience with note files, with loan files, and that if you can step in to their shoes and solve the problem that they either were not willing to solve or were not able to solve, then you are going to profit handsomely. And the fact is, they could solve these, but they were oftentimes forced by either Congress or shareholders or by the bottom line to get rid of these loans. And so even before they had a chance to solve them, they were sold off. So you're stepping into their shoes, and this opportunity now is yours. So let's look at some of these, and I'll show you what the problem is and what the solution is. So the first one is modifying the loan. Now that's the solution. Now the way that you can add value to a loan that is too expensive, payments that are too expensive to a homeowner who wants to stay in the home and can afford it, the way you add value is you modify it. You see, you take a loan that costs you a discount, a heavy discount, because no one would modify the loan before you. It was this way because the market went down, perhaps they lost their job for a period of time, but now things are better. And now you come in and you are the mini bank and you can modify this loan so they can afford it. Now again, they have to have a job, they have to apply just like it's a new loan, they have to qualify for it with employment and so on, but you can modify the loan, and by doing that you profit with cash flow. And not only that, but after a period of time, after 3 months, you can actually sell that loan. There are a lot of people, a lot of hedge funds, the government actually will, they will actually buy the loan from you after it's performing, after 3 months. And we'll have a future video about that. Let's look at the next one. There are times when the borrower disappears. The house is vacant. The bank couldn't find the borrower. They don't want to be found oftentimes, right? And you can hire a servicing company to find the borrower. And once the borrower is found, you can get a deed in lieu from the borrower. They will oftentimes very willingly sign over the property to you because you're taking a different approach. They actually know who to talk to, because with the bank oftentimes they've tried to work with the bank, but they can't really find the right person to approve something, to give them the deed. They have no idea who to call. Not only that, but they have a bad reputation because they beat them up with all the phone calls and the harassment. So you come along as a friendly banker and you'll accept the deed in lieu after the borrower is found. You're going to make a good amount of money for that because you can now sell that property. So let's look at the next one. There are times when loan files have problems. I'll give you an example. You could repair a loan file and add value and make that loan file more valuable by, for example, if the promissory note is done in a loan file. Now, you can fix that. You can do what's called filing an affidavit of the promissory note. So what you're doing is you're You're affirming that the note is missing, but that the trust deed is found, and there must have been a note that went with the trust deed, and the trust deed is on public record, right? So this is something that can be done. Or, for example, perhaps the borrower has not signed every page of the promissory note, but they have signed the very last page. Well, this is something that's not a terrible thing. And this loan file now can be much more valuable because you have fixed the problem of the loan file. You can also short the loan. Now here's a case where a homeowner has tried to do a short sale, but the bank was unreachable. They said no, and then the bank sold the loan. You bought it. The homeowner wants to sell the house, and they know who you are because you have made, not you, but a realtor has made contact with them. See, what we do with this one is we actually send a letter that I'll show you a copy of later, that the letter has the realtor contacting the homeowner and saying, if you would like to sell your house, I will handle the short sale for you. Well, then the realtor knows who we are because we have written a letter to the realtor instructing them that if someone would like to sell their house, we might approve the short sale. We don't talk to the homeowner directly. That's not allowed. But we will approve that short sale if they want to sell. Now, again, you have paid a really heavy discount on that loan. You're approving that short sale for multiple times your investment. And so you now have brought that solution to the homeowner, and you have added value, and you will profit. You can also foreclose. Now, you might think, well, how is foreclosing adding value? Seems kind of strange. Well, think of all the communities that have vacant homes in their community, and the home is just sitting there. The grass is growing uncontrollably. The swimming pool is a mess, attracting mosquitoes, right? And pretty soon they're going to shoot the next Jurassic Park in the backyard, right? Well, you come in and you want to, be fair. You'd like to do a DIL, but they don't want to do it. They don't cooperate, or maybe some other problem. So you just foreclose. You do it reluctantly, but you have to do it. And you don't hesitate when it's the right course of action, because you have every right as a lender to do that. Okay? So you foreclose. You reposition that house. You then can take that home, rent it out, keep it in your own portfolio, or sell it, get it fixed up, clean up the backyard, get that lawn mowed, and transition it into a great place for someone else to live, for a deserving family. Well, you have solved a problem. You deserve to profit for that, and you will. How about getting a property out of BK? Well, there's an added value that you can bring to a property and to this property by the fact that perhaps the owner bought this home and it was maybe a speculative kind of investment for him. And I'm thinking of an example, one of mine right now. And he had a bunch of rental properties, and then the downturn hit, and they didn't bring in the rental income that he was expecting to pay the mortgage, and so he's just been defaulting. The guy that I'm thinking of, is defaulting on about 15 loans in New Jersey. And these were in areas that had a lot of rentals, and his rentals just sat there and were vacant. Well, he filed bankruptcy, and so now the judge had these properties in the bankruptcy case. Well, what we did was we filed what's called a motion of relief from stay. Okay, a motion of relief from stay. And what that does is that releases those properties from the BK case, all right, so that the owner, the borrower, can agree to a DIL. Now, the judge has to approve that, but why wouldn't the judge approve that? Because the judge knows that the homeowner can't afford all these rental properties, especially if they're vacant. He doesn't want them. He's emotionally distanced himself from them. So the judge very willingly said, absolutely. In 30 days, that's all it took. The property for which we had the note was released out of the bankruptcy case. So now it's a DIL. We can do with the property as we wish now. We can sell it or rent it out, whatever we want to do. So you're helping the community by getting this property transitioned, and again, there's profit in that, and you deserve it. And then the last one I'd like to talk about is you can provide seller financing. Now, how many real estate investors do you know are going to the local real estate investment associations? They've watched the gurus talking about how great it is to own rental property, but they don't have the ability to get a bank loan because the banks really aren't loaning right now. They do have programs where if you live in the home, you can fix up your home and so on, but who wants to live in a house and fix it up? I've done that before. No thanks. These are non-owner occupied. It's difficult for them to get non-owner occupied loans, and so instead you can offer seller financing. All right, and because these are properties they don't want to just fix and flip, they'd like to keep them, and it's hard to get those bank loans right now. So you provide value by you buy a note at a discount. You then transition that note into an REO in your own portfolio. Then you sell that REO to an aspiring landlord investor. He then pays you a very hefty down payment, could be a 50% down payment, in order for you to offer seller financing for the other half. He then holds it for 5 years, and then he owns it 100%. But during that 5 years, you collect the rent, or you receive the rent, as your payment for the 50% seller financing loan. Now, isn't that powerful? Now, in order for you to, for the fact that you have done that, okay, by adding value, by providing this seller financing, you're going to profit for that because you've already gotten paid for the note acquisition cost, for any processing that you've done with that note. You've gotten that all back by the fact that this investor has paid you 50% down. So you may, buy this note for $10,000 and for a $50,000 property. He pays you $25,000 to acquire the property. You've already doubled your money, and then you're holding the paper for the 5 years, and you're collecting the rent. So you've not only doubled your money from the start, but now you're collecting rent too for the next 5 years. Now, this is a strategy I'm going to go into in greater depth, but you can see the power in that. And all of these solutions are here that you can offer to your community where you buy your notes. And because of this, because of these solutions, because of you adding value, you're going to profit. And I might just add that, lastly, that you don't always know which one of these you're going to do with any certain note. And I think that's something that really requires us to be flexible. That when we buy a note, sometimes we know the exit strategy that's going to happen when we transition it, but other times we have to sort of twist and turn our way through the jungle a little bit, and we end up finding the most profitable strategy for that note. And I always say that a note kind of speaks to you. You kind of hold it up to your ear and you listen to it, and you hear what it says to you. Here's the best profit from me, right? And that's what you have to do with each note. You kind of have to get to know it, get to know its wrinkles, get to know its most profitable strategy, and then employ that for that given loan file. All right, well, that's all for now, and I hope this has been helpful, learning how to add value and profit.